Streaming live on WFLA Now. Powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Here's JB Buno.
More clues emerge in the search for Gabby Petito. A month before she went missing, Utah police say they were called to investigate an incident involving the 22-year-old Northport woman and her fiance, now named a person of interest, Brian Laundrie. Hey there, folks. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now alongside 8 on your side, Justin Checker. We're currently in our evening newscast. So for those of you looking for more team coverage of what's going on with the search for Gabby Petito, you can find it on your NBC station, WFLA News Channel 8. We're currently in the 5 o'clock newscast, 6 o'clock newscast coming your way here in about 53 minutes time. Justin, let's get to the very latest here with this report now out of Utah. There was a fight that occurred between these two about a month before Gabby Petito was reported missing.
Well, JB, last night at 11, we broke the news that the Moab City Police Chief confirmed to 8 on your side that there was a incident in which his officers responded to an altercation involving the couple on August 12th. We know based on Gabby's Instagram page, she had posted photos from a national park in Utah there right near Moab. I have in front of me, JB, this 4-page police report, which outlines what exactly happened. Now, no charges were filed in this situation. What we know from the document I have in front of me is that a witness basically called police that he reported that a male had been observed to have assaulted the female. So you had multiple officers responded. They basically found them in their van, driving a little over the speed limit near this kind of a campsite area there. What it turns out what happened, JB, is the two of them got into a verbal argument that escalated to some clawing and slapping. Basically, it was got physical, but nothing serious, no serious injuries. But there are a lot of quotes in this report, JB, that really shed light on how this was not a picture perfect relationship. I'm gonna read a few of them. I have them in front of me. One thing that Brian Laundrie told police was, quote, the time spent together traveling created emotional strain between them and increased the number of arguments. Police then wrote they did not believe the situation escalated to the level of domestic assault as much as a mental health crisis. The report describes that Gabby was very emotional, crying when they showed up, but they both insisted we're in love, we're engaged, we don't want to be charged with any crime here. The resolution, JB, and this is significant, the night of the 12th, police separated the two of them. Again, this is, a few weeks before she's reported missing. So the night of August 12th, after this scuffle, this altercation, they basically took Brian to a family crisis center hotel and they left Gabby with the van. So again, to recap, a verbal altercation, it got physical between the two of them, not to the level of any criminal charges, but police recommended and then separated the two of them. She stayed with the van and he went to a hotel room in a family crisis center there in Moab. So
all at once, this tells us so much and tells us nothing at all. Because yes, we have a fight here that occurs, some kind of an altercation, an argument that happens. And if anyone's been on a long road trip before with one other person, you know that arguments are normal. That's what happens when you go on a road trip with somebody else and you're confined to one space. There are highs, there are lows. It is to be expected. But not every road trip ends with one person being reported missing, the other making the drive solo back to Florida. Now we believe that Brian Laundrie in his car or in that Ford van.
Her van that's registered to her. Yep.
Her van, the Ford white utility van, that he made the drive from Moab, from the Moab area, from Utah, that area, back to Florida.
Well, we know after Moab that she last told her mom on August 25th that she was near Grand Teton in Wyoming. So they continued further north from Utah after this altercation, and that she had told her mother she made it up to Wyoming, and that is the last known contact on the 25th, JB. But again, this is all new revelations in this police report. You can read more about it right now on WFLA.com. And if you join us on the air at 5:30, we'll have a live report coming up here on News Channel 8. But again, we're staying on top of all these major developments. Again, JB, the big headline today is police in Northport have taken over this investigation, and for the first time, they are calling Brian Laundrie a person of interest in her disappearance. Shortly after that press conference, we got this report from Moab police in Utah, which outlines this altercation and scuffle, which again shows that, again, like you said, being on the road for so long, tension might have been building. Again, I go back to the line where he told them, The time spent created an emotional strain between them and increased the number of arguments. And some witness, we just know his name is Christopher. His last name is redacted. He witnessed whatever physical altercation took place. And it says, Christopher told the officer he was not entirely sure we had seen, but feared the worst, which is why he came forward as a witness and agreed to complete a written statement.
So Christopher, the witness, is the one who contacted.
Yes. So they did not call. They did not call police on each other. Someone observed them at this campsite area there in Moab, and that is what led police to respond back on August 12th.
It's important here that we stay grounded here as far as the facts of the case, and we kind of stick to what we know. But I'm just gonna for a moment here, I'm gonna share how I feel about that particular wrinkle of this story so far. Again, Justin Checker, JB Buno here with the Live on WFLA Now, engaging a new digital audience. Hello there to you, breaking down what we know here on the disappearance of Gabby Petito. If I'm on a road trip and if I see two people fighting, a couple, a man and a woman, if I see a couple fighting on a road trip, it would take I'm speaking for me, it would take a considerable amount of emotion in that altercation or something scary going on for me to pick up the phone and call 911. It had to have escalated to a certain point where I feel that calling 911 and calling police is the right thing to do. And that's clearly what happened here with this witness that we only know by their first name, Christopher, seeing something that occurred here, this altercation that occurred, but it worried them enough to contact police. And again, we're talking, optics wise, that doesn't look all that great. But let's remember, with where we are now in the Gabby Petito case, Brian Laundrie, who we've been showing you here in the YouTube clips that are still out there on social media, he is a person of interest. And Justin, it's really important to highlight that right now, he is a person of interest, not a suspect, though this could change at any moment. I mean, we're waiting on press conferences, press releases, any additional information. This could rapidly evolve by the time we're even here done on this stream. So
just to jump in, I have reached out to the Laundrie family attorney in New York to get reaction to obviously this major development. You had a very strong statement from the chief. You had their police spokesperson saying they are urging him to at least just sit down and talk to them. Again, like you said, he is not charged with anything. We just know from their social media posts, this YouTube video, he is the last known person to be with her, and they were on the road since early July. So again, no charges filed. He's this person of interest. The detectives want to speak with him. The FBI is also involved, and they just want to sit down and talk. But as of today, JB, still no response from the family attorney to Brian Laundrie now being named a person of interest.
Again, we're here live with you on WFLA Now and going over the latest here. But what we want to do now is feature some of your comments and some of your questions here out of the WFLA Facebook page live comment section here. So for those of you joining us on WFLA's Facebook page, and we're live on a lot of different social media pages right now, but you can use any of the hashtags you see on your screen. We have the two here for you. You can use hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJustin, and we'll feature some of your comments here live on WFLA Now. And we have this one here from Nicolise Carbone. Hello there, Nicolise. Thanks for commenting here along with us. And again, we'll only feature the comments with the hashtag, so that way the people that don't want their comment featured, we'll just kind of let your comment go idly by in the comment section here. Nicolise, hashtag HeyJB, this is really sad. I hope she's found alive. It sounds sketchy that drive back alone makes no sense. These two are engaged. Let's keep that in mind here, that the two are engaged and they go on this cross-country road trip together to experience the United States, leaving from Long Island and New York, leaving in this Ford van, and seemingly having a great time based on what we saw on social media. But what you see on social media and what we post on social media doesn't always add up to what is exactly going on. It doesn't tell the full story of what's going on in your life. So to Nicolise's comment here, I want to focus on the second portion of this comment. I hope she's found alive. I do too. I think we all do.
We know, and you look at these. That's her mother there. I mean, her mother, her father lives in Vero Beach. JB, I spoke to him last night. They are holding on to hope that she is just lost, disoriented, doesn't have her phone. But again, as each day passes, this family is becoming more desperate for answers. And look, we know now this is 3-4 days after she was reported missing. This is obviously a national news story, JB. There is more media attention probably the Northport police has had in a very long time. A row of cars and media outside of Brian Laundrie's home down there in Northport. So this is really a national story, stretching from here in Florida back to where she's from in New York, and obviously all these sites out west, these national parks that she had visited. And it's just, police want to talk to Brian Laundrie. I mean, that is the headline, JB. They are desperate to speak with him. And And the one thing I'll say, we learned today, he got back here September 1st. He was back in Florida for a full 10 days before the family reported missing. The mother said at first, she might have lost cell service, but as the days went by, she grew more and more concerned. But now I'm looking at the timeline, JB, between August 25th is the last day Gabby's mother says she spoke with her, and September 1st, that week. That is the window from the last phone call to when he got back with the van in Northport, Florida. So that kind of narrows in this 7-day window. What happened to her? Where is she? How did she get separated from him? And why did he drive all the way back here without her?
It's mind-blowing to me that we're now more than 72 hours into this becoming really a major news story here and a multi-state, really national news story. And we still don't have any word of any progress in Brian Laundrie being questioned by police. That to me is crazy, or at least it feels crazy that they, again, for those of you just joining us, maybe just new to this story, he has an attorney. Any contact, whether it's from a member of the media, whether it's from the FBI, from Northport Police, or even from Gabby Petito's parents trying to reach out to Brian, they're being told he's not talking. They have an attorney, they've hired an attorney, and that's pretty much where things stand right now as far as trying to find out. Because the big question here is, why did you leave? Why did you leave without her? Why did you come home to Florida and leave your fiance in the middle of Utah/Wyoming in that area of the United States?
And that's why this report, JB, is obviously shedding light into this relationship, that there was obviously some tension there, and that it, like you said, people go on road trips, they may see a couple, arguing, it's hot out, but that the person saw some physical, exchange that was so concerned to call them, and just leaves us with more questions than answers. And again, I think it's significant too, JB, that they basically separated the two of them. She stayed with the van, and they say they took him off to a hotel for the night, and we don't know when the next day they got back together. But at least from what the mother says, she believes she spoke to her when they made it up to the Grand Teton National Park area in Wyoming, and they had plans to eventually get to Yellowstone, and we don't believe that they ever made it there.
Let's get to some more of the comments that are coming in here, everybody. Great to have you with us here as we break down the latest here on the story, the search for Gabby Petito. And let me just make this, I've been saying this over and over again for our audience, and I apologize for those who have been with us here for a considerable amount of time now. We've activated the Share to Help banner. You see it there on the bottom of your screen. You can still make a difference here as far as sharing out news of this story. Yeah. Social media, of course, we know how it works. The more you share, the more people that we reach out to, the more people that get exposed to this story. But it's really important that we continue to share this in any hope, in the hope that there is of finding Gabby out there somewhere where we believe that she might be in the Wyoming, somewhere in Utah, where she was last seen, and where that social media trail of breadcrumbs goes cold.
I got to run in a second. We have a live hit coming up at 5:30. I'm just going to wrap on this to that point. It was not easy talking to her dad last night. You can only imagine. This is his baby girl's only daughter. His words to me, as you look at these pictures, what he said to me last night was basically, etch her image into your mind and keep sharing these, keep holding on to hope that every little clue. We know police tell us that they've had, dozens, not hundreds of tips have come in so far. So again, that is her picture. We have the tip line with the FBI on WFLA.com on our app. So again, anyone has any information to try to bring her home, we will stay on top of this with every twist and turn. But again, JB, the big headline today, Brian Laundrie, her fiance, now person of interest, seen right there in that YouTube video from their cross-country road trip. I run on set, JB, but always a pleasure to join you, sir.
Yeah, let's hear a little bit from that interview. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
I don't know about you, but their child's home. My child's somewhere in the continental United States with no phone, no car. No, it's not as hard on them as it is on us. If you want to help somebody, you help somebody.
Mm-hmm. We have people across the country helping us, trying to give any tips, anything that they, maybe they saw her.
Every viewer that's watching this, look at every picture that you're going to see on this screen. Watch the video. Let her face burn it into your memory. Your heart is somewhere, and we don't know where it is.
The waiting is just horrible. It's just the worst feeling.
To me, in my head right now, a phone's dead, broke, lost. taken, whatever. She's wandering the woods. She can't find her bearings. Happens all the time. And that's what I'm going with until I'm told otherwise.
Again, JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. That was the Petito parents speaking to 8 on Your Sides. Justin Shecker here. Just a story that so many people want answers from, as far as where is Gabby Petito? What happened there on the road? What leads to an engaged couple going on a road trip, one coming home and the other being now the subject of an urgent search in many sections of the country. Let's get to some of the questions that are coming in here, and we'll do our very best to siphon through some of these questions. You can use hashtag HeyJB here in the Facebook Live comment section. And for those of you joining us in the Tampa Bay area here, of course, Northport, Florida, Northport Police taking over the investigation here with assistance of from a lot of different law enforcement agencies. You can watch WFLA News Channel 8. We're in our 5 o'clock newscast. You'll see 8 on Your Sides, Justin Shecker, team coverage here to give you the very latest as to what is going on in the search for Gabby Petito. Let's get to this comment here from Michelle Auluzzi. Michelle, hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name and not butchering it there. Hashtag AJB. The police obtained his cell phone and his phone records to see who made contact with him around the time of her disappearance. They are checking. The last that we heard from Northport Police this afternoon was that they are using every tool at their disposal to track down everything from where the cell phones were last, everything from credit card statements, where their credit card transaction led them on this cross-country road trip, every little possible detail as to where Gabby could be is being utilized, and with we have a lot of different agencies. We mentioned earlier, not just Northport Police, but the FBI as well. So this is now a multi-agency, multi-state effort, a collaborative effort, and they're going to use any means necessary to hopefully track down Gabby Petito. And again, the hope is that they find her alive, and the parents that you just heard from there continuing to hold out hope. Cliff McAfee Jr., a commenter here on WFLA Now, hashtag AJB. Now what? It's a great question. Now what? Is it hurry up and wait? We're waiting on investigators who are diligently doing their job and have been doing their job. This is one of those stories that one of the things I noted in an earlier stream, we had commenters saying time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. No one knows that more than the detectives that are on this case, the investigators that are on this case. So when I tell you that they are working tirelessly, they're working tirelessly to follow that trail of breadcrumbs where it went cold. But you have to remember, too, this is now going back a couple of weeks. Late August is when we last had some concrete knowledge as to where Gabby Petito was. It's September 15th. We're halfway through the month of September. And Brian Laundrie has been home here for some time, for a considerable amount of time. So there's a time. Justin was talking about that time window here that we have really focused in on here at WFLA, because it's the key frame of days there as to when Gabby went missing, and hopefully helping us to determine where she could possibly be. But the time that has elapsed since that window in late August doesn't help investigators. And really, there's going to be some challenges and difficulty with the time that has elapsed before this became something that, of course, got on everyone's radar. And remember here, folks, too, that when you have somebody that goes out on a cross-country road trip, if you don't hear from them for a day or so, it's depending on the family, depending on how constant you keep in contact with your loved ones, going a day or two on the road without hearing from that person might be normal, but every day that has passed has made this more nerve-wracking for the Petito family. So let's keep everything in perspective here as to the amount of time that has elapsed since this became, since Brian Laundrie returned home to Florida. Sharon Moore, hashtag AJB. Do we know if her luggage was in the van, or did he leave and all of her stuff? That's information that we're hoping to find out more details on. We know that the van itself is in the custody of police. They are going through the van. They are checking, of course, for any potential clues as to Gabby Petito's whereabouts. Angela here, hashtag HJB, so many questions. My heart aches for her family. God bless this family. Why leave her? Why come back to Florida without her? If somebody has heard from her or more than 24 to 48 hours, something is wrong. I know it's been several days. It's been more than that. We're coming up on what, 3 weeks since late August when we last had any knowledge as to Gabby Petito's whereabouts. Cindy Thompson here, hashtag HJB. Maybe Google Satellite could help the search. Has the FBI released any info? And Cindy, I would imagine that they're using all technological capabilities at their disposal to hopefully track down Gabby, but Google Satellite doesn't necessarily work in the way that you think it might work. It scans over a particular area, photographs it, and then moves on to another area. But you would hope that any technological means possible that they could use to track down Gabby's whereabouts will, of course, be used. And really, I can't state this enough. And our commenters here as well have been noting this. The cell phone is a key piece in the investigation, and finding out where that cell phone is and the information that it has, locked inside of it. That's going to be a key component of this. And we'll hopefully find out more about that here in the hours ahead as we get more information from Northport Police here in the Tampa Bay area. Ashley, hashtag HJB, lawyering up pretty quick as her fiance. He should be helping in any way possible to help find her as he sneaks back to Florida without telling one he returned without his fiance. I think we all feel this way. You don't just go on a cross-country road trip. Fights happen. Anyone on the stream knows that it's common. You get in fights with your loved ones. It could be a brother, it could be a sister, it could be your mom, your dad, your son, your daughter, your wife, your spouse. It doesn't matter who it is. Arguments occur. No one has a perfect relationship, but for it to get bad enough that this Christopher, the witness of the argument, called 911. And again, that's what we're here live to tell you about here, is the fight that they got into before the disappearance occurred. For this witness, Christopher, last name redacted, to see this and think it was urgent, serious, and potentially dangerous enough for them to contact law enforcement and get police involved in something that they had no business being a part of, makes you wonder just how bad this got between Brian Laundrie and between Gabby Petito. But even so, I think I speak for a lot of the commenters here that we've had with us over the last several streams here. I don't think there's any fight that I could get into where it would be bad enough where I would leave somebody on a cross-country road trip like that and just beeline it for Florida, beeline it for home. Something, the very first comment that we had when we went live here 23 and a half minutes ago, the very first comment that came in was, I don't remember the name. It didn't have a hashtag, but it just said, "This case stinks." And there's something here that we just don't know here with this particular story that is the reason why we have thousands and thousands of comments coming in and an immense amount of shares and people who are desperately seeking answers here, wanting information. Where is Gabby? And the reason is just something doesn't add up here. But this latest piece of information, the fight that they got into before the disappearance occurred, leads us to exactly what Justin just reported, that as you would expect, not the relationship between these two, though they appeared to be happily engaged and ready to start a chapter of their lives together by getting married at some point, it wasn't picture perfect. That there was, again, social media, you see a couple on social media like this, and they appear happy, and that's just when the camera's rolling. So what occurred when the camera wasn't rolling that led to there being friction? And I want to make this clear one more time. Friction is common. It's expected. It's normal in a relationship, but friction enough for a witness to call police on you during a cross-country road trip, and for enough friction for you to leave your fiance on the road before heading back home, it leads to a lot of questions, and a lot of questions that we're trying to get to here JB Buno here with the live, everybody on WFLA Now. As a reminder, you can click on the link in the description on this video. It'll take you over to WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and it has the latest on the search for Gabby Petito. Back here with you live. Let's take this question here from Mackenzie. Mackenzie Earl. Let's see if we can, it wanted to pop up here on screen, and then there it is. Okay, Mackenzie Earl, hashtag HeyJB. Do we know if Gabby's mother was in contact with Brian during the time that she couldn't reach Gabby? We just know that there has been a significant amount of radio silence between Brian Laundrie and between the Petito family, which isn't a good sign. Again, outside looking in, it doesn't look good because Brian Laundrie isn't talking to the FBI. He's not talking right now to police in his town of Northport. He's not talking to the media, obviously. He's not going to talk to us and not talk to the and he's not going to talk to the media and not talk to the FBI. But the fact that the Petito family has been unable to get information from him as to Gabby's whereabouts leaves you with this extremely sinking feeling that something really isn't right here. That this is again your future in-laws and your future father-in-law, mother-in-law. They're trying to get a hold of you, saying, "Where is my daughter?" And you, it certainly leaves you with a sinking feeling. But again, Brian Laundrie is a person of interest, not a suspect, until of course he is named a suspect by law enforcement. There's a lot of folks here that want to. That are immediately jumping to the conclusion that he is responsible for something very sinister. And let's keep in mind here that it's very easy to go down that road, but there's so much that we don't know about what happened between these two on the roadway. There could be other elements at play here that we just don't know about just yet. You would hope at this stage in the investigation that we would have answers, that Brian Laundrie would be talking, or there would be more information pertaining to what happened in late August. But right now, we're just all of us here on the edge of our seat waiting for information. We're at any moment, and I'm surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens here. At any moment, an email could come in, a press release could drop, a press conference could begin, a statement issued by an attorney. So as soon as we have information, of course, it's going to be posted to WFLA.com, the WFLA app, where everything that we know about the search for Gabby Petito is currently housed. So if you're looking for information on the search for Gabby Petito, that's the place to go. All of the latest updates, even if you're watching this video in particular in a non-live capacity, it's after the fact. It's after we have been live, and now it's a recorded video living on social media. It's still, the latest is going to be for you there on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. Let's get to Melissa DePace's comment here. Melissa, thanks for joining us here on WFLA Now. Hashtag AJB. You know, this is something we were talking about earlier, the Instagram account. You know, people have been commenting that it seems that there's some strange activity associated with the Instagram account. Now, that's not necessarily from police or law enforcement. That's just from, social media. It's interesting. Social media people are commenting about this one social media account, saying that something just doesn't add up. And one of our commenters earlier said that they believe that captions had been shifted around. And Justin reported earlier that some of the most recent posts don't have the same geotags, and the posts get there's an interesting pattern there with the posts. And Gabby's, as I understand, I'll read the comment here from Melissa in just a second, but Gabby's Instagram account is still up, and everybody can correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't been on it since this afternoon, since the last couple of hours. But as I understand it, Gabby Petito's Instagram is still live. The YouTube videos are still there. Melissa DePace saying hashtag HeyJB, what about her Instagram being deleted and the text sent to her mom on August 30th when Brian was back in Florida on August 1st? Yeah, so where did the messages, or where did the post, and where did this communication originate from is really the question. And the Instagram did at some point go down. It did go down. And then it mysteriously reappeared. And it would be very odd if that was Instagram's doing. Maybe they associated, you know, social media giants, they do have to at times pay closer attention to out of the norm activity when it comes to a missing person or a high profile case, something that becomes a national news story. And of course, the people at Facebook or the people at Instagram or the people at YouTube are pay just a little bit more attention to make sure that there's nothing illegal going on with the content that's being posted on their respective sites. But the Instagram going offline and just that one account going offline for a period of time, I believe that Justin said that was last night into this morning. That is curious. It's curious, and it makes you wonder if somebody else has access to that account. It's not out of the norm for more than one person. Ask yourself, your Facebook and your Instagram, does your husband or wife have the password for it, or does your best friend or your brother or your sister or your mom? Do you? I know that my wife has my password to my Facebook account, and it's not out of the norm to share a password with just one or two people within your inner circle. But if that was the case, then that means that somebody might have been able to access Gabby Petito's social media accounts after she was reported missing, and that of course leads you down a path of how and why and who is accessing this content. And could it be possible that Gabby is somewhere with access to her social media accounts making those changes? I suppose so, but that would be extremely bizarre. So especially when her face is everywhere. This is a national news story of a considerable magnitude here, especially in areas like Utah and Wyoming. We had a commenter earlier noting that right now that is a primary focus, a major focus of news there in Utah and Wyoming. Her face is everywhere there. Every site, every newspaper, every single solitary place that you look, apparently they're sharing these images in the hope of finding Gabby Petito. So Utah police, Wyoming police, agents there in that area, detectives in that area, even news outlets in that area doing their part. And that's why we're trying to also help here as well, activating the Share to Help banner, trying to get as many shares here as possible. Let's get to some more of the comments here. How about Christine here? Christine DeLoe, #HeyJB. How do they even know where to begin to look? You could have left her anywhere. It's like a needle in a haystack. I pray that she's found soon and safe. Yeah, we all are sending those same prayers, Christine. And again, Grand Teton National Park. It's 310,000 acres. But that is the general last area as to where, right there, Gabby Petito was known to be. And where Brian Laundrie is believed to have that area of the country believed to then get in his van, the van that was in Gabby's name, and drive back to the Tampa Bay area here in Florida. So needle in a haystack. Yeah, it's a needle in a haystack because we're talking about such a vast area there, massive area. 310,000 acres. Now that's 30 miles from Yellowstone National Park, which I think more people know than Grand Teton. Grand Teton, of course, a beloved national gem, but most people know Yellowstone National Park because it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, national park to my understanding. And now I have to fact check myself. Hold on, biggest national park in the United States. Oh, it's not. It's another national park. So. Oh, wow. There's actually many national parks considerably larger than Yellowstone. And Yellowstone, if I remember correctly, is 2.2 million acres. Let's get that right. Yellowstone National Park. And we'll bring this up here. And again, Yellowstone National Park, about 30 miles from where Gabby Petito went missing here. And come on, waiting for information. There it is. 3,471 square miles, and it's enormous. So the point I'm making here for Christine is needle in a haystack times a million, because we're talking about trying to find one person in an extremely remote and remote for good reason. This is one of the most beautiful areas to visit in the country. There's a reason that they were driving there. It was to post pictures in one of the most treasured national parks in one of the most treasured regions that we have for sightseeing in this country. And they went there for a reason, but it's just extremely vast. It's large beyond comprehension. So to find Gabby there is going to be a massive, massive, and considerably massive undertaking. Again, here with you live, everybody, on WFLA Now. And to Alyssa Nicole's comment here, if I can load it, and I think I can. Oh, yeah, asking hashtag KGB, have they started the search? You bet that they have been searching. And Justin here is done with his 5:30 report on the news, and we can see if we can get in the latest from him. He's trying to. It's been a long day for us here at WFLA. He's just trying to get a bite of food down here while we have an opportunity to do so here. Justin, we'll bring you back in here, and Alyssa here asking, have they started the search? They've been searching for some time now. I mean, this is something that's been going on for many, many days.
Well, I did speak briefly with the park services out in Grand Teton. One of the most telling things from what the family statement said, JB, yesterday was that they're at least urging Brian to come forward and say, hey, they're looking in the right area. We know from that phone call on August 25th, it is believed that her last known location was in Wyoming near Grand Teton, that they've been heading north towards Yellowstone. So that's one of the pleas from Gabby's family, say, hey, let them know at least, is this the last known area they should be looking in those near those national parks in Wyoming?
Again, Justin Checker here. Justin, can you spend a few minutes with us, or do you have to get ready
for a few minutes? Any more questions? I'm sure you covered it pretty well last.
We were talking about this because the Instagram account that went down. When did that occur? That was last night into this morning.
I got back from Northport after 1:30, and I was just checking to scroll through some more of the posts, and it was up. I woke up for 8:30 this morning. The account was not there. By the time I got to work by 9:30, 10 JB, the account was back open. So I might mention this in the earlier stream. This is what jumps out at me about the account. She geotagged every place she went, all these national parks, all these stops, Zion National Park, the Arches one in Moab. The Arches post from August 12th, the same day as this altercation, this fight where police were called out. That is the last post where she geotags her location.
Right.
There are two posts since then where there's a lot of speculation on social media on the Instagram comments, whether she actually wrote them. But what jumped out to me was those two posts after the 12th, after they were in Moab. There is no geotag. And if you read the way they're written, the wording and kind of the prose, how it doesn't jibe with some of her other lengthier kind of posts documenting this trip.
And that's why I was noting earlier that the pattern, just to some social media observers, just seemed off, that the post didn't necessarily add up towards the end, closer to when she went missing. You're
seeing the short clip in there, the video of the two of them. I've watched, JB. There's like an 8-minute video they put together on YouTube. I believe it's called Nomadic Static was their kind of branding, where it's this 8-minute behind the scenes kind of their van life. Yep, it's that.
I want to point this out. Cindy's comment here.
It was not deleted, but again, when when some reporters like myself checked this morning, it was showing up not found. But by later in the morning, it was back there, and there's all this speculation as to what happened with those last two posts. There's a lot of comments just on his page as well saying, "Hey, where is she? What happened to her?" So they were both very active on Instagram. They had that YouTube video, but the Instagram painted this picture of these this couple in their early 20s exploring the West. Even talking to her dad yesterday, he asked me, he goes, have you ever gone surfing on sand dunes? I was like, no. He's like, well, my daughter did that. I'd love to do it. So just this was something that they had been at least telling their family that they'd so much been looking forward to go explore all these beautiful, stunning national parks out West. And now we're here with this mystery, and just each passing day becomes more and more difficult for this family.
I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in here. Hashtag AJB, hashtag AJustin and if you do that, we can throw your comment up here on screen like Cindy's here, and Cindy saying hashtag AJB because we were talking about this when you were on the air, Justin, on WFLA.
Yeah.
Hashtag AJB, her Instagram account has not been deleted. It still does exist.
You can still comment, it's all there. And I'm not 100% sure about this, JB, but I believe she's gained a lot more followers since this. It's up to, I think, about 46, 47 followers on the page. So this case is gaining national attention from here in Florida back to where she's from in New York. And obviously all these communities out west are seeing reports on their local news as well about this.
I want to throw up Matt's comment here because we have seen so many people just theorizing how what could have happened to Gabby here. And I want to throw up Matt's comment here. You know, we have tried to tell folks out there that as far as us throwing up comments here, that we weren't gonna focus too much on all the theories that are out there, because it's not hard when searching this story on social media to find, oh, this happened to her, that happened to her, oh, this must have happened, or she, you know, Brian did this, or Gabby is definitely here.
Look, her dad.
We can do that. We can do that for literally days. But I want to focus on Matt's comment here for a second. Hashtag HJB. I feel like they probably got into an argument and he decided to leave her there, or she just said take the van because she didn't want to ride back with him, and something obviously happened to her after. He probably won't talk because he left her there and caused her to be hurt. So
two things on that, and that's one thing was in the police report that he was telling her to calm down and just like back away from me to like have some space, and he told police that she feared he was just going to leave her there, and that's why she was like not giving them space. Again, to that point, we heard from her father in my interview with him last night. He's still holding on to hope that this is the situation, that there's nothing nefarious has happened, that she is just lost, no phone, no van, and that somehow some hiker, someone out there in the Mountain West will be able to locate and find her. So it's just a good observation there by Matt, and we appreciate the comment.
Yeah, and we appreciate it just because there's so much that we don't know, and we're not saying that
and
this
police
person's
know more
guilt.
than they're telling us. And you mentioned that too, JB. They obviously know more than they're sharing with us. We know they're going through, you know, surveillance camera stuff, you know, trying to track this van, looking for anything with digital forensics, any phone records, and I think I mentioned in our earlier stream, looking at bank records with credit cards and bank statements, and that takes a little more time for investigators to try to access the bank stuff than the phone records from the phone companies.
Yeah, and again, just Matt's comment here, just presenting us with an alternate scenario here, as perhaps they got into such a, you know, if there was a series of fights, and again, we're going down a road here into the unknown.
He said in that police report that
there were multiple fights. So if there was a fight that was bad enough where Gabby said there's not there, I'm never getting in that van with you again. I don't feel comfortable being in that van with you, because they had so much discord in their relationship. If that was the case, and then Brian says, all right, well, I can only do what she's telling me to do, and I'm going to leave, then could something sinister have happened to Gabby Petito post-fight, post Brian departing? Now there's going to be people here that are looking at me like I'm crazy because you would never leave your loved one on the road like that. But is that a scenario that is plausible? I think that's a scenario. I think that there's a lot of different scenarios that are plausible here because of just so much unknown here with this particular case right now. So
and we know, look, the FBI is involved in this. I mean, they're the ones who helped Northport Police process that van for any evidence. FBI looked at street cameras. So we did hear today, Brooke, that Northport Police, they're going through traffic cameras, gas station cameras. You know, they're probably trying to trace back, you know, what was the exact route that Mr. Laundrie took from the west to get back to Florida. I think it was a 36 or so hour drive, JB. I think that's what I came across when I did my mapping earlier. And obviously they were both living out of this van, so he may not have stopped at a hotel. There was bedding and place to live in the back of the van, so there might not have been any other hotels he might have stopped there on the way back. But that's a good question, and looking for any street cameras, highway cameras is definitely a piece of this investigation for both the local and federal authorities who are trying to bring her home.
How about this one here? You know, this is a comment that just kind of barely scratches the surface of some of these social media investigating, the sleuths that are out there trying to dig more into these pictures, into the post, and try to find out more into where she is. So real quick, Ted Walford, hashtag Hey Justin, that last photo with the butterfly mural, not geotag, seems very different time, hair short, wavy versus long.
Happy Halloween. It says Happy Halloween in the caption in mid-August. Yeah, so that post. So there's a lot of questions with that last post. I mean, there's she has like a pumpkin in her hand. She has kind of the orangey Halloween colors. But when I first saw, I was like, why would that be the last post on her? So again, those last 2 posts without the geotags, it's a good observation there by Ted. Just goes to show, JB, a lot of people are checking out her Instagram page, not just us reporters, that this is something that's gained attention. But again, as I'll reiterate before, I mean, the main message from her father is they're grateful for all the people sending in tips. Just get this image of her in your mind, share her story. We have the tip line to call the FBI, and just they're praying and pleading for anyone who have any little bit of information to help solve this mystery. But again, JB, the headline today is Northport Police want to talk with that guy right there on your screen, Brian Laundrie.
I want to spotlight one comment here, and they're coming in so fast, but somebody was on the money here with a Fox Business report. And Justin, you can let me know if this is a report that you have seen. And again, everyone, there's so many rapid developments here with this case that it's impossible for us to stay on top of every report that's coming out, but we're doing our best here. But and apologies, the commenter that pointed this out to me is no longer on my screen here, but that commenter said that Fox Business reported earlier today that Facebook temporarily removed the Gabby Petito Instagram account. And I believe it was by mistake. And I believe that what they're saying is that it was inadvertent. So
that makes, like I said, before I went to bed last night, I was able to, scroll through on my drive back, from Northport, and there was that gap this morning. It was gone. So that would be plausible, JB. We don't have that independently confirmed, but Fox Business, maybe with their ties with some of the social media companies, that might make. It seems plausible to me, given that it is back live, and I was looking at it just, as part of our reporting here today. So just again, it's a fascinating case, JB, getting a lot of attention, both here locally in Florida. Obviously, everyone back in New York and Long Island, Blue Point, where she's from, is obviously concerned. And again, it's the parents' worst nightmare, JB. It's you can only imagine what those parents are going through. And I know you've played that sound earlier with just the anger and frustration from her father for that statement that the family put out yesterday.
How about this one here from Kayla, #HeyJB, #HeyJustin. Do we know if they were able to track Brian's phone? So again, it continues on, our credit card, debit card, to see where.
So police have said they're doing the digital forensic works on the phones. We don't know of any search warrants that have been obtained. And they also, Kayla, they are trying to go through bank records, but what the police spokesperson told me, it takes a little bit longer to, I guess, cross your T's, dot your I's with getting the bank records access than the digital forensics. And again, I'll repeat it again. They know more than they're telling us, JB. We both know that from our experience covering law enforcement. But I thought it was telling today because I asked the Northport spokesperson on Monday when I was driving down there, do you know when the fiance got back here to Florida? At the time on Monday, he said to me, we know when he got back. We're just not sharing that. And one of the pieces of information today, JB, was they came out and said he was back in Southwest Florida on September 1st. So they knew that 2 days ago, but now today they're kind of releasing that extra detail. But great question, Kaylin. We know the FBI and Northport police detectives are definitely trying to hunt down any information in regard to the phone records and their bank statements and credit card transactions.
Again, 8 on your sides, Justin Checker, one of the many reporters, including Allison Henning, who is on this story for us here. Let's explain who we are. Just for a second. Justin, a reporter on WFLA News Channel 8. I'm JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now, managing our breaking news coverage here on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, where, of course, we have all of the coverage here on the search for Gabby Petito. Our entire staff here is combing through the latest that we have from law enforcement, from the families that are talking. You see there, the family has been doing an immense amount of interviews trying to spread the word and try to get Gabby home safe, as any parent would, right? Doing what they can to hopefully get their precious daughter return home to them safely here. Yeah, Justin, you want to?
There's a little context. So her mother is the one who did the press conference with the stepfather up in New York in Long Island. Her father and stepmother now live in Vero Beach. The father told me he had moved down, I think it was the beginning of the summer, to be closer to Gabby, with her living down here, with the fiance, Mr. Laundrie. But even just talking to the stepmother yesterday, JB, I guess she's been in her life like 20 plus years and really considers her a daughter. So, I mean, this is just gut-wrenching and heartbreaking for these both families, for both couples, as they eagerly await for answers. I got to go soon, JB. I'm just going to run before I go. Just to reset the timeline. I'm sure we got a lot of people watching right now. Here's, I guess, my best synopsis of the timeline. What we do know, Jay, is we're going to stick to the facts, what we know from the family and police. there you have the missing poster in that white camper van. Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, they embarked on this dream cross-country road trip on July 2nd. They left Long Island. By a few days later, they were in national parks out in the Midwest, in Kansas and Colorado, then into Utah. And then today, the breaking news today, we got this police report that after they were at the one of the national parks near Moab, police responded that night to a fight that was witnessed. They were not charged. They had no significant injuries. They were told to basically split up for the night. She stayed with the van. He went to a crisis center, kind of just a place to stay for the night. That was August 12th. August 21st, that is when her father, Joseph Petito, tells me he last spoke with her when she was in Salt Lake City. He said she was having trouble ordering food, that he actually ordered her a pizza, JB, that he was like kind of Monday morning quarterback. The call didn't really sense any urgency or trouble, that, you know, she needed help just getting a food order, was in Salt Lake. And that is the last time the father spoke with her, the 21st. 4 days later, they've made it up into Wyoming near Grand Teton National Park. That is believes to be her last known location in that area. And that is when she had the final FaceTime call with her mother, Nicole Schmidt, the biological mother, back in New York. And that she came out and said the 25th. And we now know a week later, JB, that man, the middle of your screen right there, he was already back here in Florida by September 1st. This past Saturday, September 9th, the family reports her missing to Suffolk County Police, where she is from, back on Long Island. But as of today, JB, Northport Police has taken over this investigation in coordination with the FBI. And again, the headline today is this fiance, Brian Laundrie, who refuses to cooperate. He is now the prime person of interest as police try to solve this mystery.
Justin is going to be part of our team coverage here on WFLA News Channel 8. That's, of course, where we are at in Tampa, Florida. But the Tampa Bay area.
Justin on Twitter for any updates there as well.
Yeah,
so,
the Tampa Bay area. The Tampa Bay area, of course, comprised of a lot of different areas from Tampa to, and I'm speaking to those of you who are joining us from outside the area. So Tampa Bay comprised of just Tampa, of course, St. Pete, Sarasota. So this
Northport
is, of course,
in Sarasota. Northport's about an hour and a half south of Tampa. It's, if you do the drive kind of here, Sarasota County, excuse me. So about an hour and a half drive south. The Laundrie family is only about a 5-minute drive from where the police department is. They don't live too far from where PD is down there. So it's kind of, if you're going to do the drive from here down to Fort Myers, kind of a little more than halfway in between, probably about 30-ish minutes south of Sarasota. Again, quiet, small Florida town that is now the center of this national mystery that is obviously gaining so much attention based on all of you joining us here today. I got to run, JB. Always a pleasure to join you, and we will stay on top of any developments. And still waiting to hear back to see if the Laundrie family attorney has anything new to say now that that man, Brian Laundrie, has been named the person of interest.
You'll catch Justin's reporting, all of our reporters and all their contributions on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. That's where all of our coverage here going forward is going to live as far as the search for Gabby Petito. For those of you joining us here in the Tampa Bay area, tune in literally at this second right now. The 6 o'clock news with team coverage is currently underway. Again, WFLA News Channel 8, your NBC station here in Tampa Bay in our section of Florida. For those of you joining us outside of our area of Florida, outside the Tampa Bay area, you can go to WFLA.com and the WFLA app for the very latest. What we're going to do now is we have to wrap up our coverage here on WFLA now, but what we're going to do is we're going to leave this Facebook Live open, and we're going to leave this Facebook Live active so that we can continue to get the the share count high and as high as humanly possible here. Again, just trying to do our part. I think that a lot of media agencies and a lot of law enforcement agencies are doing their part, just trying to share Gabby's images everywhere in the hopes of finding her alive. So we're going to stay here with you live on WFLA now, and we continue to plead for our viewers to continue to press the share button, continue to get the share count out there. Every time that somebody clicks on share, we engage a new digital audience and more people get alerted to this story and the urgent search for Gabby Petito. That'll do it for me, JB Bune. Our entire staff here at WFLA.com, the WFLA app, will continue to keep you posted on the search for Gabby Petito.
Of Moab with the couple involved 2 weeks before she vanished. Now, 2 members of Gabby's family join me now. Joe Petito, her father, is in Florida. Jim Schmidt, her stepfather, is in the state of Wyoming. And gentlemen, good morning to both of you. I want to begin with Jim there in Wyoming. Jim, I think you're in the area of Jackson. What are you looking for? What have you found so far, Jim?
Yes, that's correct. We came out to Wyoming yesterday. Really, our reason for being here is to just help law enforcement with any questions they may have. That's really our reason to be here. We have our family and friends in New York, where Gabby's originally from. She has her father and stepmom and family and friends down in Florida. So we feel we have those two areas covered, but we didn't have anybody out here. And we all just agreed that we felt we need somebody out here to just try to assist in any way we can to locate her.
Yeah, understood. Just so our viewers know, Jim, the reason you went to Jackson, Wyoming, that is reportedly the last time Gabby was seen. Do I have that right?
Yeah, one of her last text messages to her mom and conversations was that she was heading up to Grand Teton National Park area, and eventually onto Yellowstone was their plan.
Okay, Jim, hang on with me there in Wyoming. From Florida, Joe joins our conversation. Can you figure this out, Joe?
If I could figure it out, we'd have an answer. We know where to go, and we would be done. I wouldn't be on the line with you.
Yeah. How well did you know Brian Laundrie, the boyfriend?
Not as well. I mean, because I was living in New York and they were down in Florida, so not as well as I would like to. But there still weren't any red flags that would indicate we would be here today.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever talk to him?
I have. Down in April. Back in April, me and the family drove down to my uncle over in Naples, and Gabbs and Brian met us. We drove up to Venice Beach. We dug through the sand for shark's teeth with the kids and Gabby and Brian. So yeah, I've talked to them. We've came and visited them, but again, nothing to indicate what's going on today.
Yeah, understood. Were they engaged at one time, Joe, or not? Were they just boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah, no, they were engaged. I know there's some confusion in it, but it's not like they were rushing to for weddings and stuff like that. That wasn't their main focus. They wanted to go out and enjoy their youth. Gabby always wanted to travel and see the amazing sights, and she's doing it. And that's awesome to see. You're doing it at 22 what people try to do at 65 when they retire. And so what she's doing is envious, and even I'm a little jealous of it. I was talking to Jim, last night, and Jim, you heard it. You said it. I got here, and I know your first instinct. I know why Gabby came here, because it is ridiculously beautiful. So
Joe, does it strike you that Brian has been so quiet so far? He put out a statement, but only through his lawyer.
That wasn't a statement. I'm sorry. That's not a statement. If that, what? That wasn't a statement. That was, I got to quell my emotions a little bit. You know what? Listen. Forget Brian. Brian's home safe. All right. His parents, it's hard for them. Bullshit. Never mind. No. You know what? My daughter is not here. Our daughter is not here. We don't even know where she is, what state she's in. We're shooting from the hip here and trying to do what we can. So I don't care about the statement. I care about finding Gabby.
Yeah.
One of the things that I woke up to and really bothered me this morning was her Instagram is down. I don't know who took it down. If you guys can reach out to Instagram and put it back up, or at least get the pictures out there as much as we can, because I'll tell you, at best case scenario, someone sees those pictures and memorizes her face and finds her, when they're hiking or driving or whatever. At worst case scenario, those are the pictures that I need for me to come from me, and I don't even have that right now. So no, I don't know what that is, but we got to get them back up. So
that's a great message, Joe. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Just one more specific. Were they engaged as of 2 weeks ago or a month ago? What was their status?
Yeah, no, they've been engaged And listen, they were together.
So they didn't break that engagement off then?
No, it just wasn't their main focus. They were, they were trying to enjoy their trip. They had no plans on anything. It was just that they wanted to be together. They loved each other. But all that stuff is great, and all that. But it does not help us with the main focus now. We don't know where Gabby is. All right, and I'm doing all this stuff so I can get her face out there, and I can't see what you guys are doing. I'm hoping you're plastered her face, the tip lines, while you're having this up, and if you're not, please do, because it's not me you need to look at. You need to look at Gabby, memorize her face, memorize the tattoos, memorize watch that video, get that, learn her mannerisms. So if she's walking down the street, or if she's stuck in the trail or something, you know what she looks like, her mannerisms. That's Gabby. Here's my phone. Call you folks. They're looking for you.
Mm-hmm. Jim, one last question for you up there in Jackson. What do you do today? Who do you talk to? What are police telling you?
Well, right now, the police are doing everything they can, and that's all we can rely on right now is that all these law enforcement agencies are working together collectively, and they are doing their best to find out what happened, where she is. And, as of right now, we got in late last night. So, they're aware that we're here. Our hopes are that we can reach out to them today. We can speak to them in person and show that we are here. There is a presence here.
Okay.
And, what we're looking to do here is, I know there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of people want to help. A lot of people want to get out there and do searches and stuff like that. That is not what we're looking to do right now. We're here to help law enforcement do what they do best, and that is to find Gabby. And that is all we want.
Okay, Jim Schmidt is Gabby's stepfather. He's gone to Jackson.
And that video was by Alex Erickson. Go ahead and give Alex a follow. If you don't see her link in chat, I will have it in my description box. Thank you, Amber, for dropping it. I have one more. Just trying to get it all out there. You know me, I'm neurotic when it comes to this stuff. All right, here we go.
Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Closing Arguments. I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us tonight. And we're going to begin this hour with the disappearance of a young woman from Blue Point, New York. Police are searching for 22-year-old Gabrielle Petito. Her friends call her Gabby. She was traveling on a cross-country road trip with her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, before being reported missing by her family. Now, Petito and Laundrie were documenting their van life travel experiences, that's what they called it, on a YouTube channel called Nomadic Static. As you see here, the Suffolk County Police say that the couple was traveling in a white 2012 Ford Transit van with a Florida license plate when Petito stopped communicating with her family. Now, according to the family, they were last in contact with her during the last week of August. Okay, now prior to that last communication, Gabby is believed to have been in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Gabby, 22 years old, from Blue Point, described as a white female. You saw her picture there, 5 feet, 5 inches tall, just 110 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes, several very distinguishable tattoos, including one on her finger and one on her forearm that reads, "Let it be." The van she was traveling in has been recovered. There's her boyfriend. He's also been recovered. He's found. He's home safe. Now, lawyers, you hear that? Lawyers representing Gabby's boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, issued a statement today. And let me put it up on the screen because this is a little different. I wasn't expecting this. This came a little bit out of left field here, right? They go on a trip together all summer long. He returns without her. And they issued this statement. Let me read it to you. This is an extremely difficult time for both the Petito family and the Laundrie family. I understand that a search has been organized for Miss Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. On the advice of counsel, the Laundrie family is remaining in the background at this juncture and will have no further comment. All right, once again, folks, let's pull back on this a little bit. Young couple, boyfriend, girlfriend. Some reports may even be a fiance. I don't know the exact status of their relationship, but they go to live the van life together. I watched the whole video. I mean, they're together doing this in the white van. Two of them go out, drive across the country. One comes home to Florida and has a lawyer, and at this juncture will have no further comment. What? What happened? What happened here? Do we know what happened here? All right, we've got some guests. We have our guests ready? All right, let's bring in our guests. Joining us tonight, there they are, folks. In Salt Lake City, Utah, private investigator Jason Jensen. Also in Salt Lake City, Utah, retired police commander and host of the Profiling Evil podcast, Mike King, is with us. And Utah plays a big role in this whole thing. I mean, they were spending time in Utah. I have to start first just with this statement that was released, because I wasn't expecting this. Mike, you first, because I saw you reacting out of the corner of my eye here. What is that statement?
Vinny, I was flabbergasted. I mean, how could you have someone? Everything I've read is this is a couple that's been engaged for 2 years. They've been living together. They went up to New York and met with the family for a high school graduation, and Gabby's mom and stepdad gave them a little extra money to make this trip a lot of fun. They look like in all the videos that they're having a blast together. And all of a sudden she disappears, and his comment, or the family's comment through their attorney, is we wish the best. Holy cow.
Jason Jensen, this is a cold statement. This is cold. It's not like they were strangers. They were on a blind date. They didn't really know each other. They were living together. Were, I think, planning to spend the rest of their lives together.
That is really the impressions you get from watching their YouTube video of them having the van life, traveling the country, hanging out here, visiting that park and this park. But then all of a sudden, there's a massive turn of events where the relationship is completely soured and he has no idea where his girlfriend is. That doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's walk through this a little bit. Tracking this trip, it seems, because again, watching the video, you go on the Instagram, you can see that they're posting these beautiful pictures, beautiful parts of the country, up until kind of like mid to late August, and then all of a sudden these things stop. Mike King, this is what the whole trip was about: living the van life and posting to the world about it, right? Doing it very publicly, and then it just stops in the middle of August. Like, there's got to be some explanation for that, and obviously he would have the explanation. How could you not pick up the phone, tell her parents, talk to them, come out publicly, explain what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go back to the day they leave Arches and drive to Salt Lake City. They obviously are together because one report that I read was dad buys an Uber meal for him and sends it to the hotel room. They leave the hotel room together, and I assume that there's a video that has the two of them together. They come up to my town, Ogden, just north of Salt Lake City, and they take pictures. Somebody had to take that picture at the butterfly mural of Gabby, and I doubt that it was a passerby, because mom ends up talking to her that night from Jackson Hole or near the opening of Teton Park. And she's there and doing okay, but mom kind of tips her hand a little bit and says, we don't know much about how the relationship was doing right there. Well, behaviorally, that's kind of an interesting addition. That's really interesting. But I'm with you, Vinny. How come all of a sudden, the 25th, the 28th, whenever there may be a question on those tweets changing or those social media posts, all of a sudden you have from the 28th of August to September 11th, when a police officer is knocking on their door, that there was no phone call back to mom and dad saying, hey, Gabby got mad and took off on her own, or there was a terrible accident. No, it kind of reminds me of kids at play when they just want a do-over and they want everything to be forgotten.
Yeah, and that's not happening here. We have another guest joining us tonight. A special guest joining us in New York City, Crime Online reporter Ellen Killeran. Ellen, great to see you. What do we know about this couple, about Gabby, about Laundrie, and the nature of this relationship? It seemed like, they had a wonderful relationship and were doing. I was a little bit jealous, just taking off and doing this incredible trip.
Exactly. Gabby is a free spirit, and that couple appears to be very happy and in love and sharing the same values and really just enjoying themselves, documented on their video, document on their YouTube channel, on their Instagram social media accounts. From what we can see, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong, except for the fact that Gabby went out of contact, and her fiance drove all the way back to Florida without letting anyone know that she wasn't there with him anymore.
Yeah, makes no sense. Jason Jensen, I know you've been doing a little bit of investigating yourself with trying to track where this white van that they were living in has been spotted. What did you find out?
Well, one of the things that we learned was that on July 6th, it was in Colorado Springs near a church just on the city street. So they were making their way across the country. But other than that, yeah, that's the image right there of where it was parked on the side of the street. Other than that, there are no other sightings, which just, doesn't mean anything more than the fact that they were in rural areas and national parks where a repossession company isn't going to see the vehicle and run the plate and put it in the database.
Ellen, the other part is you described that they had shared values. They were into like yoga and just clean living, got very upset when people would pollute into nature, all of that.
Exactly. Healthy living, taking care of the planet, giving back to the planet, and enjoying everything that nature has to offer. They had this really healthy lifestyle, it appeared, in many different ways. So it just doesn't make sense why she wasn't reported missing by the man who said he wanted to marry her and just turned around and left. What happened?
Yeah, and even if they, people can break up, they can have a fight, whatever. I mean, you're driving across the country, you're responsible for each other, okay? And from my perspective, if you're a man, you have even more responsibility. Some people might think it's sexist, but I think you do. I think you do. If you're driving around and you've got a young woman with you, take care of her. You don't leave her wherever. If she walks off, you follow her and you make sure that she's safe.
You make sure she's okay, and that's her vehicle that he took. That's hers.
There's a fun fact I did not know. I did not know that fun fact. Unbelievable. All right, Mike King. I'm going back to the statement released by the lawyer for the boyfriend and his family. I'm a lawyer. I understand that people need lawyers, but shouldn't we be looking for this young woman instead of getting lawyers and being silent? They say that I understand that a search has been organized in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. I was there once, but it was a long, long time ago, Mike King, long time ago. How do you even begin searching for someone there?
If it's out in the national park, that is the needle in the haystack, and that is one tough search. And I keep going back to this thought about why hasn't there been something shared about the day she disappeared if she does walk away? And then I start thinking behaviorally, this kid spends a lot of time on her mobile device sending information to her YouTube channel, to her Instagram channel, to her Facebook page. She is not going to stop and just disappear off the planet on her own. Even if she were mad and walked away, she would be communicating with her other loved ones.
Absolutely. Jason Jensen, I mean, this investigation, this search, I think Mike is right, needle in a haystack. I mean, because you don't even have a starting point. You don't know when she went missing or exactly where they were when they went missing, if in fact the man who is with her, is remaining silent and has no further comment at this point.
Right. I think the biggest problem that I saw in the attorney's letter was the fact that it seems to be responsive to learning about a search rather than it was actually them that was encouraging the search. So I think it's a sad statement, to be honest, that does not seem to be that this Brian Laundrie is helping at all.
Mike King, how about tracking her phone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a way to perhaps do this? I know that, but when you're in the middle of nowhere like that, can you still track phones?
Yeah, absolutely. The phone itself intrinsically has GPS that's connected to the satellite array, and there's just thousands of satellites that are keeping track and sending that back. So this is what's going to become really important in this investigation is the forensic search warrants that go on, getting that cell phone data, seeing what the behaviors were, and then being able to put that down on paper. And then it becomes a scientific investigation that will really show some pathways. Now, as you get in those off the beaten path areas, then you start having a little more trouble. But if they can get the device information, they're going to have much more accurate information than the triangulation off of cell towers that normally we would have to operate off of.
Ellen, how about Gabby's family? What do we know about their reaction to everything that's happening here?
Well, they have said, her mother has said that this is a living nightmare, and it is. I just before we came on here tonight, I did speak to the family representative who sent out that statement, and he told me that Gabby is the loveliest person that any of them know. She is the eldest of, I believe, 6 siblings, the coolest person, as her dad describes her, and just everyone who knows her loves her, and everyone who loves her is fearful and heartbroken and angry and frustrated that we can't get answers that should be pretty easy to provide by someone who was with her last.
Yeah, Mike King, when I think about the no further comment at this juncture, like what juncture are you going to have a comment? I mean, she's missing now. What are we waiting for? What juncture are we waiting for? To me, I look at it through a lawyer's filter, right, Mike? And what I see is, and I have criminal defense attorneys on this program every night. They say, don't say anything. Don't say anything. The less you say, the less can be used against you if and when there's ever charges. You know, I look at, why would you be silent? You'd be silent because the lawyer's telling you to be silent. But he was silent maybe even before he had the lawyer, because if she went missing sometime in August, the family doesn't know till September. Wouldn't that be the first call? Wouldn't that be the first call? And Mike, come on, the first call. You are with this young woman and something happens, whatever it is. You pick up the phone, you call your parents, you call her parents, you get help, you explain the situation. But that didn't happen.
No, and you hit it on the head on the nail. This is 2 weeks before this attorney, if we understand the media reports accurately, 2 weeks pass before he goes and he gets an attorney that tells him don't say anything. Well, he already took that counsel and was not saying anything for 2 weeks.
And Ellen, was it fiance? Were they at that point? I've seen kind of mixed reports on the status of the relationship.
You're right. There have been mixed reports, but on her Instagram and his Instagram feed, they both have the same photo from July 2020 saying that they had decided to get married.
And that was was that another road trip? Because I thought I saw some photos from 2020 when they were out on the West Coast.
Yeah, I believe that they have done this type of thing before, but I don't think to quite this extreme where they were spending months or planning to spend months on the road going all the way to Oregon, where Gabby was going to celebrate Halloween with some family friends. I believe she really loves Halloween, and her last Instagram post on August 24th, I believe, was holding up a little pumpkin and saying Happy Halloween. So that's something that she was looking forward to.
Jason Jensen, something else struck me. I was going through the Instagram, and you were on the other night. I think you were on the other night when we were talking about the story out of Moab involving the other couple that went missing, the newly married couple. I think they went missing on August 14th in Moab, Utah. And this couple, or at least he, posted a picture of himself in Moab on August 13th. What's going on in Moab?
That's my thought exactly. I was thinking that earlier today. It's weird that we would have two camping related disappearances all in the same area, both involving Utah, perhaps.
Yeah, and both couples were living what they refer to as the van life. So, Mike King, you're in Utah too. What's going on in Moab? Because they're taking a picture on the 13th, and then we know where we are now in this case. The other couple's case that we're covering disappear out of Moab on the 14th of August.
Yeah, it looks like from the traffic pattern that they took, they probably went through that Moab area where Delicate Arch, that incredible image that we saw of the couple together, the big horseshoe looking arch occurred. They probably stopped there briefly en route to Zion National Park and then returned back because all of the evidence suggests that they left Moab and then went directly to Salt Lake. So it would appear that they did some doubling back. The thing that I guess I find a little bit of solace in is that we know that they left the Moab area where that other homicide occurred and they made it to Salt Lake. We absolutely know that. And we know they made it to Ogden, and we know that they made it to Jackson Hole. And of course, there's the photo of Delicate Arch. So it looks like, unless that same predator's traveling the same pathway, that would be less likely.
Okay. I got worried there because I said, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's a crazy deal.
Crazy coincidence. Alan Killoran from Crime Online. Read your stuff every day. Thank you so much. Always great to have you on the show. Jason Jensen, Mike King are going to stay with us as we return and open up tonight's unsolved case file. Don't go anywhere.
Damn, that was good. I really enjoyed that. I really, really did. I want to thank everybody for being here. These were the shows that I had watched today that I wanted to obviously play for you guys. So thank you so much. And I'm going to get going so I could fix dinner and get everybody situated and whatnot. You guys all have a good night, and let me know in comments what you guys think. This is kind of crazy. And also, if you see any updates, email me at amandasvitha@gmail.com or leave me a comment and we'll link up. Let me know. Bye, guys. Bye.